the body of material that we're working with is comes from the wisdom of ancient India. India is very special on this earth because everywhere on this earth, the ancient wisdom has been destroyed by the church and by imperialism. And India is the one place on earth, the one place on earth where the ancient wisdom, a wisdom that some say is older than time itself, has survived with tremendous fidelity and integrity. It's a living tradition, which has been carried on mother to daughter, mother to son, uh, uh, father to son for untold tens of thousands of years. And the tradition is rooted in a language called Sanskrit, which is again called the perfected language, the language of the gods. And the whole system is set up with a tremendous number of mnemonic devices. So that's carried on with, so that this language of the gods, the perfected language, is carried on with tremendous, tremendous integrity. But before we go any further into this, I must give you a few caveats. First, again, this is a professional training in energy medicine. You'll be learning three energy balancing sessions and a series of contacts and a way of understanding and working with this material personally and professionally. This body of material offers a spiritual approach, a hands-on yet spiritual approach to healing and well-being. We must mention that spirituality is very, very personal, that each person has their own vocabulary and their own fabric of experience. And so I'll be using a particular vocabulary and my own journey to illustrate these points and illustrate the principles and realizations that I'll be articulating. But anything I offer is with a deep respect for the fact that you may have a different vocabulary or a different fabric of experience, and that what I'm saying may seem rather fringy at times or outside of your range of experience, and that's understandable. But I don't mean to diminish anyone else's experience and diminish anyone else's spiritual approach um, by what I'm offering. So please understand that every way of seeing is a way of not seeing. And what we're talking about is very, very personal. So I invite you to be open-minded. Um, and I'll try to be equally open-minded as we work with this great and wondrous mystery of life and consciousness. A second disclosure is the wisdom that I will be sharing with you is drawn from the ancient wisdom of India. In India, they call this the Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal, and in this case, it means older than time itself, older than this creation. And Dharma is not found in a book. It's a way of life that we can only practice and experience. So Dharma is a way of life that connects us with being, connects us with our inherent divinity, allows us to live in a sacred world and practice a sacred life. So Dharma is something that you can experience from moment to moment, and that Dharma facilitates a state of soul communion, a communion with being, a communion with a higher force, a communion with your essence, so that you can feel in your felt sense, feel in the quality of your energy and the quality of your wholeness when you're connected to Dharma and when you're disconnected to Dharma from Dharma. So the Sanatana Dharma is a way of life that, that facilitates soul communion, that facilitates communion with being. And this process is called yoga, a union with yourself. Yoga, our word yoke comes from yoga, and yoga means union with your inherent divinity, union with your divine self. So The Sanatana Dharma is an eternal way of life that facilitates constant communion, uh, constant union with your inherent divinity. And this is a state of well-being that you can experience and that is indeed your natural state. So as I said here, the material we're working with comes from ancient India. It's called the Sanatana Dharma. Now, I didn't grow up in India. I don't speak any of the languages of India. And so I come to this culture as an outsider, and I'm interpreting it through my ignorance as a Westerner. And I'm seeing it through the eyes of a Westerner rather than through the eyes of an Indian. So there's a good chance that you could call everything I'm doing here cultural misappropriation, in that I am seeing it through a vast horizon of ignorance. So please understand if you've been exposed to these ideas in other contexts, that every way of seeing is a way of not seeing, that what I'm offering you is meant to complement what you already know, or maybe help you to see it in a different light, hopefully a valuable light, a useful light. But please understand that it is only with the deepest love and respect that I approach this wisdom, even if the result is cultural misappropriation. That someone growing up in this tradition, educated in this tradition, has a responsibility to carry it on with the same purity and fidelity that they received it in, while I necessarily misunderstand it in really significant ways. And so the way I represent it will be different than somebody who grown up in this tradition may be representing it. But nevertheless, I hope it's valuable and I hope it's useful to you. So we're talking about the wisdom of ancient India as the foundation of everything we're doing in this program, this professional training in energy medicine, and in our class in mantra yoga. Mantra comes from the same root as man or woman, the Sanskrit root manas, which means mind. And mantra are essentially words of power. Mantra is essentially a body of invocation, a body of invocation of higher states of consciousness. So mantras are words of power that invoke higher states of consciousness. Now, mantra uses a Sanskrit, the ancient Indian language of the gods. It's called Devanagari, the language of a god realm, or it's called the perfected language. And Sanskrit is somewhat unique as a language because it's psychoactive. The sounds alter our consciousness, and the spectrum of sounds represent the full spectrum of sounds that we can make. It's a language that consciously uses the lips, the palate, the throat, every aspect of this apparatus for consciously for recreating a spectrum of vibration that represents the spectrum of consciousness and the spectrum of vibration of this human condition. The 50-ish letters of the Sanskrit alphabet represent these 50 bijas, these 50 seeds of all vibration. And again, it's called the garland of letters. and it represents the underlying vibratory dynamics of our creation. And ultimately, um, this language is a language that's been carried on orally for tens of thousands of years, from father to son. And if you learn this language, your first 7 years, you're only learning to transmit the language with fidelity. You're not learning the meaning of any of the knowledge. You're only learning to carry it on with the same fidelity that's been given to you. So mantra yoga uses these Sanskrit sounds, which are called bija mantras, seed mantras, to alter our state of consciousness and to allow us to commune with deeper levels of our being, ultimately to commune with our own inherent divinity. In the worldview of the Sanatana Dharma, the ground state out of which everything comes, the absolute, the Godhead, is called Brahman. 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 And though Brahman is beyond any quality, because any description would limit it, it is described as Sat, being, Chit, consciousness, and Ananda, bliss. So it's an absolute beyond any description. And yet we can tell, because it is our own self, because it is being itself, and our awareness of that being and the bliss of our communion with that being, that we can feel it in our being when we're connected to Brahman. We feel a certain bliss. And the purpose of all that we're doing here is communion with our inherent divinity, is that feeling of bliss, which is our natural state. So we're not talking about any kind of a pie in the sky religiosity or spirituality. We're talking about a moment to moment experience of soul communion, which is your natural state. It's something you already have, and you simply need to relax into it. Deep breath. Brahman has an active expression, and the active expression of Brahman is called Brahma. The active expression of Brahman is called Brahma. And again, Brahman and Brahma come from roots. Bri, which means to expand, to fill all space. So existence fills all space, all the dimensions of time and space and causality take place within the unchanging absolute of existence of Brahman. Now, the nature of Brahman as Sat Chitananda is to unfold its creative potential, to unfold its creative potency. We understand this. The great philosopher Sri Radhakrishnan, says it's simply the nature of this mystery to unfold its creative potential through what we experience as creation. And so the active expression of Brahman is Brahma. And Brahma is an ever expanding breath of creativity. in the wisdom, in the revelation of the ancient wisdom of the Sanatana Dharma, the universe, the universe, totality, everything that is a living, is a single living, breathing, conscious being. In exactly the same way that you are alive and conscious, this universe, this infinite, this unimaginably deep and infinite universe is a living, breathing, conscious being. And in exactly the same way that this breath of life spirals down to, in each breath, bring this gift of life to every atom and molecule and cell of your life, of your body. This breath of life doesn't just stop here and begin and end here. It goes from every quark of creation to every galaxy. That from galaxy to quark, from the tiniest thing that we can imagine to the vastest expansion of consciousness, is a unified field of sat, being, chit, uh, awareness, and ananda, bliss. And the same life breath that spirals through every dimension of your body to share this great, wondrous, and mysterious gift of life with you is the same life breath that brings life to totality. So everything that moves is moving as an expression of the life breath of a living universe. The spiraling galaxies, the rhythms of the planets around the earth, your breath, the dance of the atoms is all the spiraling of the life breath of a living universe. So in the Sanatana Dharma, the masculine principle is very abstract and subtle. And its power in nature, its Shakti, its power, is in the feminine. And so the feminine aspect of Brahma, this breath of creative intelligence, it's right here. Here's Brahma right here. We live in this ocean of breath, this ocean of life, this ocean of creativity. And in each moment, breath, life, is unfolding its creativity through you, is breathing life into you. So, first of all, the life in you is the universal life, is the life of the cosmos, that there's only one life. Um, uh, and secondly, you are a vehicle for the unfolding of the creative potential of life, that you are the cutting edge of the unfolding of the creative potency of the evolution of the cosmos, that all life is sacred, that your life is sacred, that your dharma, your place in this creation, is the expression of this great and wondrous mystery that we call life. So the Shakti, the power of this breath of life, is personified in different deities in India. So the goddess Saraswati, Saraswati, let's see if I can show you that there. Saraswati, Saraswati. The goddess Saraswati means essence of self. Saraswati means essence of self. So the Shakti, the power whose vehicle is this breath of life, is personified as the goddess Saraswati. And so she is this creative intelligence whose vehicle is the breath of life. She personifies the creative intelligence whose vehicle is a breath of life. And you can always tell which god or goddess you're looking at in ancient India because they have their celestial accoutrements. So the goddess Saraswati always is seen with a vina, and she's always playing a vina. And this represents the fact that your body is a musical instrument that is being played by the breath of life. That in every moment, as you breathe, your body is taken through a cycle of natural and cosmic attunement. That as you breathe, the tissue and the energy fields on molecular and atomic levels move through, change their pitch as the tissue is stretched by the process of breathing and moves through essentially these five keynotes of attunement to nature and the cosmos, which cross-culturally and transhistorically have been called the five elements, the five elemental keynotes of vibration of earth, solidity, water, life, fluidity, fire, action, creative energy, air, intelligence, and ether, the overall field in which all of this takes place. So in each moment, as we breathe, the body is taken through a cycle of natural and cosmic attunement as the breath of life changes the pitch of the tissue and changes the pitch of the field on molecular levels. So first, there's a still point, which we call sattva guna. Guna is best translated as quality, and it's better translated. I'd say it's usually translated as quality, and as describing the fields of energy on a molecular level. But it's best translated as a field or vortex. The very sophisticated student of Sanskrit, Theos Barnard, who founded the Sanskrit program at Columbia University. Theos Barnard tells us that guna comes from roots, Indo-European roots, the root giri, which means like a vortex of energy. So the gunas are better understood as a vortex. So we talk about the sattva guna, which is a field of energy, a vortex of energy, which is in communion with being. A rajas, again, a field of community, a field of energy, which is in communion with the solar force of fire. And tamas guna as a point in this field where the field comes into entrainment and attunement with the lunar force of water. So in each breath, the body is taken through a process of natural and cosmic attunement. First, sattva. Sattva, an attunement with being. Sat means being, a point of soul communion. Sattva is the force of equilibrium, the organizing intelligence of the cosmos. Then as we continue to breathe, the field moves into inspiration, or respiration. As we breathe in, we move into a field of radiance, and we attune with the solar deity, the solar field. We attune with the sun, with the fire of creation, and we move into Rajas Guna, or we entrain with the solar force, and we're empowered to unfold the fire, the creativity of this creation. And then as we breathe out, the diaphragm drops and the energy field drops into a lunar attunement, water, form, cleansing. So each breath, the body as a macrocosm and every level of that microcosm, every field in the holarchy of the body, from its gestalt, totality, down to the atoms, is drawn through a process of natural and cosmic attunement to the great qualities of being, creativity, and form, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sat means being, sattva being, sat being. Rajas means to glow with excitement, the joy, the ecstasy, the passion, the warmth, the power, the fire of creativity. And tamas is the ecstasy of being in a body, all the pleasure and all of the pain that we experience through this body, this ecstasy of being in a body. Very, very special. Some say that being here on earth is more precious than even being in the heaven realms, because this is the only place where you can work out your karma and evolve, and that is Tamaskuna. So we're talking about the world as music, and we're talking about how you and I and everyone and everything are theomorphic, made in the image of creation, that you personify this process of creation. And another name of Saraswati, of the essence of self, is Vakdevi, goddess of the holy word, because the holy word is the essence of creation. And your speech is the essence of creation. And again, you personify the dynamics of creation, and the powers of speech embody and personify the dynamics of how the breath is empowered to unfold the creative potential of the mystery. So in mantra yoga, we use the powers of the breath. We invoke Vak Devi, the powers of this mysterious capacity that we have to take our consciousness and to articulate it, to take our passion, to take our desire, to take our dreams, and to give voice, to give expression, to create through the holy word of our voice. So in mantra yoga, we use this voice to commune with our own inherent divinity, to invoke our inherent divinity, that the wisdom of the Sanatana Dharma is unique in the world for its power to transform men and women into goddesses and gods. There's no body of wisdom, no body of knowledge on earth which can compare in its conscious ability to cultivate our inherent divinity, to reveal and nourish our inherent divinity, and to transform ordinary men and women into goddesses and gods, to reveal their essential nature. So this is what we're doing here in mantra yoga. So we're saying that the goddess Saraswati, whose name means essence of self, is the personification of this mysterious gift of life, whose vehicle is the breath. That we're talking about this amazing intelligence, whose vehicle is the breath, that gives life to every atom and molecule and cell of this body, and who unfolds the Dharma that is our lives. So we're going to be using the Bija mantras, the seed syllables, to invoke this goddess, to cultivate these qualities within ourselves, and to alter our state of consciousness into a divine state of soul communion. The mantras, the Bija mantras, seed mantras, a seed, just like a seed, tiny acorn has within it the intelligence, the mystery to create a giant oak. These seed mantras have within them the intelligence to create these qualities. So we begin with the mantra we're going to be learning is Om, Aim, Shrim, Harim, Saraswati Devi Namaha. Om, Aim, Shrim, Harim, Saraswati Devi Namaha. So Om is the holy word, the mother of all vibration. Aim is the Shakti, the manifest power of Om, the feminine aspect of Om, the power of Om in nature. Shrim is the power of the goddess, the grace that is inherent in the feminine, the light, the beauty, the majesty that is inherent in the feminine. So Shri means filled with light, filled with grace and charisma, uh, the auspiciousness of the goddess, auspiciousness of the feminine. Hrim refers to the attractive power of the feminine, that within the feminine energy is the capacity to draw from the infinite universe the mystery to give birth to life, to reenact the mystery of conception and pregnancy and birth. So Harim is this magnetic power, like we talk about an attractive woman, and it's ultimately the ability to attract from the ethers, to attract from the subtle universal elements the qualities that enable one to give birth to life and to recreate this gift of this form. Saraswati, essence of self, goddess of creation. Devi is a being of light, a being of consciousness, a being of a higher dimension. And Namaha usually means I honor, but it's saying all this is a gift. None of this is mine. None of this is mine. It's all, I just surrender. I own none of this. It's all a gift. It's all the, the generosity and mercy of nature. And our mothers embody the incredible love that this creation has for her creation. So Namaha, all of this is a gift from our mother called life, who loves us so profoundly and so deeply that she's given herself to this creation, that we have been given the gift of life and all the powers of creativity that are inherent in this sacred life, in this sacred gift of life. So we're using this Bija mantra, these Bija mantras, to commune with our inherent divinity, to invoke our inherent divinity, to cultivate our inherent divinity, and to move us from darkness into the light, from our egocentricity and constant self-referencing to a space of communion with our own divine essence. So now we're going to be chanting this mantra, and we're going to be chanting with a saint, and her name is Karuna Ma, Mother of Compassion. And I always use someone who's grown up in the culture, like Saint Karunama, who will chant the mantra correctly so that we can learn it with the correct intonation. And again, Sanskrit is a language in which meter, the rhythm that we chant it in, is very, very important. So she'll be chanting it in the correct meter, and her lips, her vocal apparatus will have been using these syllables all her life. And of course, she's been taught Sanskrit and taught to pronounce these syllables correctly. So it's best to learn these from someone who's grown up in the culture and has received received an education in this language. Now, as I've been saying, Sanskrit is an interdimensional language. It is a language of a God realm. So you'll notice in the chanting, there's going to be a rhythm in which we chant it out loud, and then we stop and we listen. So the silence is as important as the listening, because in the silence you commune with the subtle, higher dimensions of the mantra. So you'll hear in the rhythm, first she'll chant and we just listen, and then we chant together. And you want to chant loud so that you're sending this vibration through your vehicle, and you want to listen into deep and commune with a deep silence. So we'll be chanting Om, Aim, Shrim, Harim, Saraswati, Devi, Namaha. And it's good if you can have a focus in that, again, your body is a field of vibration, and a field of vibration that is manifested from this breath of life. And one of the purest and most potent centers of this field is here at the third eye, where this vortex of the life breath radiates up into the two lobes of the brain. So if possible, try to focus on your third eye and feel the vibration of these bija mantras as they activate the finer forces and the higher centers to facilitate a process of soul communion. So we're going to chant this 21 times with the Saint Karunama.
देव्यै नमः। ॐ ऐं श्रीं ह्रीं सरस्वती 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 देव्यै नमः।
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We dedicate our efforts to a vision of a springtime of humanity, where all humanity makes a leap in consciousness and realizes the unity and divinity of all life, where we cherish our Mother Earth as our own dear mother, where we share with each other as brothers and sisters for all our relations. Hariom Tat Sat.